Commander Kesafara stood in front of the main screen on his warship. His 4 eyes looked at the 3 human ships moving slowly through space. They looked like simple cargo ships. Big, slow, and helpless. Perfect targets for his hunting fleet. "Report," Kesafara said to his crew. His voice made a clicking sound that all Zephyrians made when they talked. "3 human vessels, Commander," said his scanner officer. "They appear to be merchant ships. No military escort. No weapons we can see." Kesafara's mouthparts moved in what humans would call a smile. His people had been hunting in this part of space for many cycles. They took cargo, sold prisoners, and destroyed ships. It was good business. These humans were new to space travel. They would be easy prey. "What do we know about these ... humans?" Kesafara asked. His intelligence officer checked his datapad. "New species, Commander. They only started traveling between stars 50 years ago. Their technology is simple. Their weapons are weak. They fight wars on their home planet with chemical explosives and metal bullets. The other Zephyrians on the bridge made laughing sounds. Chemical explosives. How primitive. The Zephyrians had energy weapons that could cut through ship armor like cutting through water." "Perfect," Kesafara said. "Signal the fleet. We will surround them and demand they surrender. If they refuse, we destroy 1 ship. The others will give up quickly." On the human ship USS Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair. He was a tall man with short brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had fought in many battles before coming to space. His crew trusted him completely. "Sir," said Amy Rodriguez from her position at the navigation station, "the alien ships are moving to surround us." Jake nodded slowly. "How many ships, Amy?" 12, sir. They look like Zephyrian raiders." Jake looked at the main screen. The alien ships were moving into attack positions around his small group of 3 ships. To anyone watching, it looked like wolves surrounding sheep. "Open a channel to the Frontier and Pioneer," Jake said. The faces of Captain Lisa Kane and Captain Ben Hayes appeared on his screen. Lisa was a woman with red hair and green eyes. She had been a fighter pilot before becoming a ship captain. Ben was older, with gray hair and scars on his face from an explosion years ago. "Looks like we have company," Lisa said. Her voice was calm, but Jake could see the excitement in her eyes. 12 ships, Ben said, just like intelligence said there would be. Jake smiled. "Are your crews ready?" "Ready and waiting," Lisa replied. "My people are excited to finally do their job," Ben added. The 3 human ships continued moving slowly through space. To the Zephyrians, they looked like helpless cargo vessels. The ships were big and round, with large cargo sections and small crew areas. They had no visible weapons, no armor plating, no military markings. But looks could be very wrong. Inside the Liberty, Ryan Clark sat at his weapons station. His fingers moved over controls that looked like cargo management systems. But Ryan was not managing cargo. He was preparing weapons that were hidden inside fake cargo containers. "Weapons ready, sir," Ryan said quietly. "Good," Jake replied. "Wait for my signal." In the engine room, Chief Engineer Kelly Roberts watched her displays. The Liberty's engines looked old and simple from the outside, but Kelly had built something special inside them, something the Zephyrians would not expect. "Power levels normal," Kelly reported. "Special systems ready." On the USS Frontier, Lieutenant Tony Martinez was doing the same thing. His ship looked like a cargo vessel, but it was really a warship in disguise. The fake cargo containers held missile launchers. The simple-looking hull had hidden armor underneath. The Zephyrian fleet moved closer. Commander Kesafara was pleased with how easy this would be. The human ships were not even trying to run away. They just kept moving slowly forward, like cattle walking to be slaughtered. Open a channel to the human ships, Kesethara ordered. The communications officer pressed buttons on his control panel. Channel open, Commander. Kesethara stood tall and tried to look frightening. Human ships, this is Commander Kesethara of the Zephyrian hunting fleet. You are surrounded. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Surrender now, and some of you may live. On the Liberty's bridge, Jake listened to the alien commander's words. The universal translator made the clicking sounds into human speech. Jake looked at his crew. Amy was ready at navigation. Ryan was ready at weapons. Everyone was calm and prepared. Jake pressed the communication button. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human vessel Liberty. We are peaceful merchants carrying cargo to the colonies. We do not want trouble. Kesethara made his laughing sound again. Trouble has found you, human. You have 30 seconds to surrender. Jake looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were exactly where they wanted them to be. Not too close, but close enough. The trap was perfect. Amy, Jake said quietly, send the signal to all ships. Amy pressed a single button. A coded message went out to the Frontier and Pioneer. 3 simple words. Spring the trap. Jake sat back in his chair and smiled. The Zephyrians thought they were hunting helpless merchants. They had no idea they were about to learn why humans had a saying. There are no unarmed human ships. Only ships who haven't seen fight yet. The countdown began. 20 seconds. 15. 10. The Zephyrians prepared to destroy one human ship as an example to the others. The humans prepared to show the galaxy why attacking Earth's children was a very bad idea. The 30 seconds passed like hours. Commander Kesethara watched the human ships on his screen. They had not surrendered. They had not tried to run. They just kept moving forward slowly, like they did not understand the danger they were in. Humans are even more stupid than we thought, said the Zephyrian weapons officer. Fire a warning shot across the first ship, Kesethara ordered. Let them see our power. The weapons officer pressed his controls. A bright blue energy beam shot through space. It passed just in front of the Liberty, close enough that the human crew could see it on their screens. On the Liberty's bridge, Jake Morrison watched the energy beam pass by his ship. Well, they fired first, he said calmly. Amy, did you record that? Yes, sir, Amy Rodriguez replied. We have proof they attacked first. Jake pressed his communication button again. Zephyrian Commander, you just fired on a peaceful merchant vessel. That was a mistake. Kesethara made his clicking laugh sound. That was a warning, human. The next shot will not miss. Surrender now. I don't think so, Jake said. Then he spoke. To his crew. All stations, this is the captain. Battle stations. Show them what a real human ship looks like. Ryan Clark's fingers flew over his weapon controls. Weapons hot, sir. Dropping the disguise. All around the Liberty, panels slid open. What had looked like cargo containers now showed missile tubes and energy cannons. The simple-looking hull split apart to reveal heavy armor plating underneath. Gun turrets rose from hidden spaces. At the same time, the USS Frontier was changing too. Captain Lisa Kane stood on her bridge as her ship transformed. Drop all pretenses, she ordered. Let them see what they're really fighting. The Frontier's fake cargo sections fell away completely. Underneath was a warship with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Railgun batteries extended from the ship's sides. Missile pods opened like deadly flowers. The USS Pioneer was doing the same thing. Captain Ben Hayes watched his crew work with smooth precision. Weapons systems online, reported his weapons officer. All defensive systems ready. The 3 human ships had changed from helpless cargo vessels into deadly warships in less than 30 seconds. The Zephyrians stared at their screens in shock. "Impossible," whispered Kesethara's scanner officer. "Those were cargo ships. We scanned them. They had no weapons." "Scan them again," Kesethara ordered, his voice showing fear for the first time. The new scans showed the truth. Each human ship had enough weapons to fight an entire fleet. They had armor that could stop anything the Zephyrians could shoot at them. They had shields that were stronger than anything in Zephyrian space. "Commander," said the communications officer, "the humans are sending another message." Jake Morrison's voice came over the speakers. His voice was still calm, but now there was something dangerous in it. "Zephyrian fleet, you have fired on human vessels. You have threatened human lives. This is your only chance to leave. Turn around and go home." Kesethara felt anger replace his fear. He was a Zephyrian commander. He had conquered dozens of species. He would not be frightened by 3 ships, no matter how many weapons they had. "All ships," he broadcast to his fleet, "attack the humans. Destroy them all." 12 Zephyrian warships opened fire at the same time. Energy beams and plasma missiles filled the space between the 2 fleets. The attack was powerful enough to destroy a space station. The human ships disappeared behind walls of explosions and energy. For a moment, Kesethara thought he had won. Then the explosions cleared. All 3 human ships were still there. Their shields glowed bright blue, but they had not been damaged. "Not even a little bit. How is that possible?" demanded the Zephyrian weapons officer. They got their answer quickly. The Liberty fired back. Tony Martinez on the frontier had been waiting for this moment. His point defense systems came online. Hundreds of small cannons began shooting down the Zephyrian missiles before they could hit his ship. The energy beams hit his shields and bounced off like rain hitting a window. "Point defense is working perfectly," Tony reported to Captain Kane. "Their weapons can't get through." Lisa Kane smiled. "Good. Now let's show them how humans fight. All weapons, fire at will." The Frontier's rail guns fired. Instead of energy beams, they shot pieces of metal at incredible speed. The metal hit the Zephyrian ships so fast that their shields could not stop them. 2 alien ships exploded immediately. The Pioneer fired next. Captain Ben Hayes had ordered his crew to target the enemy's engines. "Disable them," he said. "Leave them floating, helpless." The Pioneer's missiles were different from anything the Zephyrians had seen. They moved and turned like living things, dodging the alien defensive fire. When they hit their targets, they did not explode. Instead, they sent out electrical pulses. That shut down the enemy ship's power systems. 3 more Zephyrian ships went dark. Floating helpless in space, the Liberty's turn came last. Jake Morrison had been studying the enemy formation. "Ryan, target their command ship. Single shot. Right through their bridge." Ryan Clark lined up his shot carefully. The Liberty had one special weapon that the other ships did not have. It was a cannon that shot pure energy, focused into a beam thinner than a human hair, but containing the power of a star. The beam hit Kesethara's ship exactly where Ryan had aimed it. It went through the ship's shields like they were not there. It cut through the armor like cutting through paper. It passed right through the bridge and out the other side. Kesethara and his entire bridge crew died instantly. Their ship began to spin out of control, systems failing one by one. In less than 2 minutes, the Zephyrian hunting fleet had lost half their ships. The survivors tried to retreat, but their engines were damaged. They could only move slowly. Captain Kane opened a communication channel to all the surviving alien ships. "Attention Zephyrian vessels. This is Captain Lisa Kane of the human ship Frontier. You attacked us without cause. You threatened peaceful merchants. This is what happens when you attack humans." She paused, then continued. "You have 2 choices. Surrender now, and we will let you live. Try to fight, and we will destroy you all. You have 30 seconds to decide. The Zephyrian ships that could still move began to run away as fast as possible. The ones that were disabled sent surrender signals. Jake Morrison sat back in his command chair. "Well," he said to his crew, "that was easier than expected." Amy Rodriguez was checking her scanners. "Sir, I'm reading more ships coming this way." "A lot more," Jake nodded. "Reinforcements. They must have called for help before we disabled their communications." Lisa Kane's voice came over the communication system. "Looks like round 2 is coming, gentlemen." Ben Hayes joined the conversation. "Good. My crew is just getting warmed up." The 3 human captains looked at their tactical displays. More enemy ships were coming. Many more. But they were not worried. The Zephyrians had just learned their first lesson about fighting humans. They were about to learn many more. Admiral Vex Karen received the emergency message while he was eating his morning meal. His aide rushed into his private quarters, looking frightened. "Admiral, we have a problem," the aide said, breathing hard. "The hunting fleet at Kepler Junction is under attack." Vex Karen was older than most Zephyrians. He had been fighting space battles for over 40 years. He had never lost a fight. "What kind of attack?" he asked calmly. "Humans, sir. 3 human cargo ships destroyed half of Commander Kesathara's fleet." Vex Karen stopped eating. 3 cargo ships? That's impossible. Humans have no real military. Their ships are primitive. The aide handed him a data pad with the battle report. Vex Karen read it quickly. His 4 eyes grew wide with surprise and anger. "Get my fleet ready," he ordered. "All ships. We leave in 1 hour." "How many ships, Admiral?" "All of them. 30 ships should be enough to handle 3 human vessels, no matter what tricks they have." While Admiral Vex Karen prepared his fleet, the 3 human ships were busy. They had moved away from the battle site and were now hiding in an asteroid field near the Kepler Junction. But they were not just hiding. They were preparing. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the Liberty's main cargo bay. It was a huge space filled with containers and equipment. But most of the containers were not carrying normal cargo. "Chief Roberts, how are we doing with the preparations?" Jake asked. Chief Engineer Kelly Roberts wiped oil from her hands with a dirty cloth. "We're almost ready, Captain. The boys have been working non-stop for 6 hours." Jake looked around the cargo bay. His crew was busy taking apart the fake cargo containers and using the parts to build something new. They were making weapons. Lots of weapons. "What about the special project?" Jake asked. Kelly smiled. "Danny Foster came up with a brilliant idea. We're turning the cargo containers into kinetic weapons. Fill them with metal pieces and shoot them at the enemy ships, like giant shotgun shells." Danny Foster was working on one of the modified containers. Nearby, he was a young man with strong arms and a creative mind. Before joining the Space Navy, he had been an engineer who designed mining equipment. "Captain," Danny said, looking up from his work, "these containers can hold 2 tons of metal fragments each. When they hit an enemy ship and explode, it will be like getting hit by 1,000,000 bullets at the same time." Jake nodded approvingly. "Good work, Danny. How many can we make?" "We have parts for 50 containers, sir. That should be enough." On the USS Frontier, Captain Lisa Kane was working on a different kind of preparation. She stood in the communications room with Kate Johnson, her communications specialist. "Kate, have you broken their communication codes yet?" Lisa asked. Kate was a small woman with short black hair and very smart eyes. She had been working with alien communications for 5 years. "Almost there, Captain. Their encryption is pretty good, but not good enough." Kate's fingers moved quickly over her control panel. Numbers and symbols flowed across her screens. "Got it," she said suddenly. I can now read all their messages and send fake ones. Excellent, Lisa said. When the reinforcements arrive, I want you to cause as much confusion as possible. I already have some ideas, Captain. Did you know that Zephyrian ships use automated target sharing? If I send the right signals, I can make them shoot at each other. Lisa smiled. I like the way you think. On the USS Pioneer, Captain Ben Hayes was meeting with his medical officer. Dr. Sam Parker was a woman who had served in ground combat before becoming a ship's doctor. She knew how to heal people and how to hurt enemies. Doctor, I need you to analyze the wreckage from the ships we destroyed, Ben said. Looking for weak points? Sam asked. Exactly. We got lucky in the first fight. The next one will be harder. Sam nodded. I've already started. Zephyrian ships have a major weakness. Their power systems are centralized. Hit the right spot and the whole ship goes dark. Where is this weak spot? Sam brought up a holographic display of a Zephyrian ship. Here, she said, pointing to a section near the rear of the ship. It's protected, but not as well as their main guns. Good. I'll pass this information to the other ships. The 3 human captains met by video link to plan their strategy. They had been friends for many years and had fought together in several battles. Intelligence says the reinforcement fleet has 30 ships, Jake said. That's 10 times what we faced before. But they'll be expecting a normal space battle, Lisa replied. We need to do something they won't expect. Ben looked at the star chart on his screen. This asteroid field gives us advantages. We know it. They don't. What if we don't fight them like a normal fleet battle? Jake suggested. What if we fight like pirates? Hit and run. Use the asteroids for cover. Lisa's eyes lit up. Guerrilla warfare in space. I like it. We'll need to split up, Ben said. Make them think we're running scared. Draw them into the asteroid field where they're big ships. Can't maneuver easily. Jake nodded. And then we use our special weapons. Danny's kinetic rounds, Kate's communication tricks, everything we've prepared. The 3 captains spent 2 more hours planning their battle. They knew the enemy would arrive soon. When they did, they would find that fighting humans was very different from fighting anyone else in the galaxy. Amy Rodriguez detected the enemy fleet first. Captain, I'm reading 30 ships approaching fast. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Jake looked at his crew. They were ready. The Liberty's cargo bays were full of improvised weapons. The ship's systems had been modified for maximum combat effectiveness. Everyone knew their job. All right, people, Jake announced over the ship's communication system. This is it. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting to show the galaxy that humans don't make easy targets. Ryan Clark checked his weapons one last time. Kinetic rounds loaded and ready, sir. Kelly Roberts reported from engineering. All systems running at peak efficiency. We're ready for anything. The USS Frontier finished its preparations too. Kate Johnson had intercepted several enemy messages and was ready to cause chaos in their communications. Tony Martinez had modified the ship's point defense systems to shoot down not just missiles, but small enemy fighters too. The USS Pioneer completed loading its special surprise. Captain Ben Hayes had ordered his crew to fill several cargo containers with industrial mining explosives. They would look like normal cargo if scanned, but they were really massive bombs. Admiral Vexcarin's fleet arrived at the edge of the asteroid field. He was confident that 30 ships could handle 3 human vessels, no matter how many weapons they had hidden. Scan the area, he ordered. Find those human ships. Sir, I'm reading 3 ships deep in the asteroid field. They appear to be running away. Vexcarin smiled with all 4 of his mouths. Perfect. They're trapped. We'll surround the field and destroy them when they try to escape. But as his fleet moved into position, Admiral Vex Karen made the same mistake that Commander Casathara had made. He thought he was hunting helpless prey. He was actually walking into the most dangerous trap humans had ever set. Admiral Vex Karen stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crushing Fang. Through the main viewing screen, he could see the asteroid field where the 3 human ships were hiding. His 30 warships surrounded the field like a net around fish. "Report," he ordered his tactical officer. "All ships in position, Admiral. The humans are trapped in the center of the field. They cannot escape without passing through our fleet." Vex Karen nodded with satisfaction. "And they cannot fight effectively while hiding among the asteroids. Their weapons will hit the rocks instead of our ships." What Admiral Vex Karen did not know was that the humans had spent the last 8 hours turning the asteroid field into a weapon. Hidden inside many of the larger asteroids were bombs that Chief Engineer Carl Rodriguez and his teams had placed there. Carl was the brother of Amy Rodriguez from the Liberty. He was an expert at demolitions and had served in the mining colonies before joining the military. He knew exactly how to make rocks explode in the most dangerous ways possible. "Charges are set on 47 asteroids," Carl reported to Captain Ben Hayes over the secure communication channel. "We can blow them whenever you give the word." "Excellent work, Carl," Ben replied. "Stand by." On the USS Frontier, Pilot Officer Nina Clark had been busy mapping every possible route through the asteroid field. She was Amy Rodriguez's younger sister and had inherited the same talent for navigation. But Nina had something extra. She could fly a ship through spaces so tight that computers said it was impossible. "I've found 17 different escape routes," Nina reported to Captain Lisa Kane, "and 23 attack routes that will let us hit the enemy from directions they won't expect." Lisa studied the route map on her screen. "This one here," she sighed, pointing to a path that went behind a large asteroid. "Can the Pioneer fit through there?" "Barely," Nina said with a smile. "But Captain Hayes is a good pilot. He can do it." The 3 human ships waited in the center of the asteroid field. To the Zephyrians watching from outside, they looked trapped and helpless. The truth was very different. Admiral Vex Karen opened a communication channel to the human ships. "Human vessels, this is Admiral Vex Karen of the Zephyrian Navy. You are completely surrounded. You have no chance of escape. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick." Captain Jake Morrison replied from the Liberty. "Admiral, this is Captain Morrison. We are peaceful merchants. We have done nothing wrong. Why are you attacking us?" Vex Karen made the clicking laugh that all Zephyrians made when they were amused. "You destroyed half of Commander Casathara's fleet. That was an act of war. They attacked us first," Jake said calmly. "We were defending ourselves. It does not matter," Vex Karen replied. "You will all die anyway. All ships, prepare to advance into the asteroid field. Destroy anything that moves." The Zephyrian fleet began to move forward. 30 warships entered the asteroid field from different directions. Their plan was simple: surround the humans and destroy them with overwhelming firepower. The first ship to enter the field was the destroyer Bloody Talon. Its captain was eager to prove himself to the Admiral. He pushed his ship deep into the asteroids, looking for the human vessels. "Contact," reported his scanner officer. "I have 1 human ship bearing 27 Mark IV. "Attack," ordered the captain. The Bloody Talon fired its main guns at what looked like the USS Pioneer. Energy beams shot through space and hit their target. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. "Target destroyed," reported the weapons officer. But then the scanner officer looked confused. "Sir, I'm still reading the human ship. It's behind us now." The captain spun around to look at his rear display. The Pioneer was there, completely undamaged. What they had destroyed was a decoy fake ship parts, arranged to look like a real vessel. How did they? The captain began to say. He never finished the sentence. The Pioneer fired a single missile that hit the bloody Talon's power core. Dr. Sam Parker had analyzed the wreckage from the first battle perfectly. She knew exactly where to hit. The Zephyrian ship went dark and began drifting helplessly all around the asteroid field. The same thing was happening. The human ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts. They would show up, fire a few shots, then vanish behind the asteroids before the Zephyrians could return fire. Kate Johnson on the frontier was having the time of her life. She was sending false messages to the Zephyrian ships, making them shoot at shadows and empty space. "Captain Kane," she reported with a big smile, "I just convinced 2 enemy ships that they were under attack by each other. They're shooting at each other instead of looking for us." Lisa Kane watched the battle on her tactical display. "Excellent work, Kate. How many ships are left?" 26, Captain. "We've disabled 4 without taking any damage ourselves." The battle continued for 2 hours. The Zephyrians became more and more frustrated as they chased the human ships through the asteroid maze. Every time they thought they had a target, it disappeared. Every time they fired their weapons, they hit empty space or asteroids. Admiral Vex Charon was getting angry. "How can 3 ships avoid 30? He demanded. "They're just humans." His tactical officer looked nervous. "Sir, they know this asteroid field better than we do. They're using it like a fortress." "Then we'll destroy the whole field," Vex Charon declared. "All ships, pull back to minimum safe distance. We'll use our heavy weapons to blast every asteroid to dust." The Zephyrian fleet began to retreat from the asteroid field. Their plan was to destroy everything with their biggest guns. It was a good plan. It would have worked against any normal enemy. But humans were not normal enemies. "They're pulling back," reported Amy Rodriguez from the Liberty. "Looks like they want to destroy the whole field." Captain Jake Morrison smiled grimly. "Perfect. Carl, are you ready?" "Ready and waiting, Captain," Carl Rodriguez replied from his position deep in the asteroid field. "Do it." Carl pressed a button on his control device. All around the asteroid field, 47 hidden bombs exploded at the same time. But these were not random explosions. Carl had calculated exactly where to place each bomb to create maximum chaos. The explosions sent huge chunks of rock flying in all directions. Some pieces were as big as houses. They flew toward the Zephyrian fleet at incredible speed. The asteroid debris hit the alien ships like a storm of giant bullets. Their shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not massive chunks of rock, moving at high speed. Ship after ship was damaged or destroyed by the flying debris. "Admiral," shouted the communications officer on the crushing Fang, "we're receiving distress calls from 12 ships. They've been hit by debris. 7 ships are requesting permission to retreat." Admiral Vex Charon stared at the chaos on his screen. Half his fleet was damaged or destroyed. The other half was scattered and confused. And somewhere in that cloud of dust and debris, 3 human ships were still waiting. "This is impossible," he whispered. "They're just merchants. They should not be able to fight like this." His tactical officer looked at the scanner readings. "Sir, the human ships are moving again. They're coming toward us." Through the cloud of asteroid dust, 3 shapes emerged. The USS Liberty, USS Frontier, and USS Pioneer flew in perfect formation. They had been hiding behind the largest asteroids when the explosions happened. Now they were ready for the final attack. Captain Lisa Kane opened a communication channel to the surviving Zephyrian ships. "Admiral Vex Charon, this is Captain Kane. You came here to hunt what you thought were helpless merchants. How does it feel to be the one being hunted?" Admiral Vex Charon did not reply. He was staring at his tactical display in shock. In less than 3 hours, his fleet of 30 ships had been reduced to fewer than 15, and those 15 were scattered, damaged, and demoralized. The 3 human ships moved closer. Their weapons were ready. Their crews were calm and professional. They had turned what should have been their destruction into the enemy's defeat. Hunters had become the hunted, and the hunt was not over yet. Admiral Vex Karen watched his fleet fall apart on the tactical display. Half his ships were destroyed or disabled. The other half were scattered among the asteroid debris, their crews confused and frightened. In 40 years of military service, he had never seen such a complete disaster. "Admiral," his communications officer said nervously, "the remaining ship captains are requesting orders." Vex Karen stared at the screen where the 3 human ships moved through the wreckage like predators hunting wounded prey. "Pull back," he ordered. "All ships retreat to maximum weapons range." The surviving Zephyrian ships tried to regroup, but they were too damaged and disorganized. Several ships had lost their main engines. Others had damaged weapon systems. The asteroid debris had done more damage than any normal space battle. On the Liberty's bridge, Captain Jake Morrison studied the enemy formation. "They're trying to retreat and regroup," he told his crew. "Should we let them?" Asked Ryan Clark from his weapons station. Jake considered this carefully. "Amy, scan their flagship. How badly is it damaged?" Amy Rodriguez worked her controls. "The big ship in the center appears to be undamaged, Captain. It stayed back during the asteroid bombardment." "That's their command ship," Jake realized. "Take it out, and the rest will surrender or run." But attacking the flagship would not be easy. It was the largest and most powerful ship in the Zephyrian fleet. Its weapons could destroy any one of the human ships if it got a clear shot. "Captain Lisa." Kane's voice came over the communication system. "Jake, I have an idea. What if we use the same trick that worked in the asteroid field?" "What do you mean?" Jake replied. "Make them think we're doing one thing while we're really doing something else. Distraction and misdirection." Jake smiled. "Lisa always had good ideas. What did you have in mind?" "Ben and I will attack from the front, making a lot of noise. You circle around behind and hit their engines. Without engines, that big ship becomes a floating target." Captain Ben Hayes joined the conversation. "I like it. My ship took some damage, but we can still fight." Greg Thompson, the tactical specialist, on Jake's ship, had been studying the Zephyrian flagship during the entire battle. He was a quiet man who noticed things that others missed. "Captain," Greg said, "I've been analyzing their ship design. That flagship has a weakness." "What kind of weakness?" "Their engine system uses a central power distributor. It's heavily armored. But there's one spot where the armor is thinner. If we hit it with a precision shot, we can disable their entire propulsion system." Jake looked at the tactical display. "Show me." Greg highlighted a section on the rear of the enemy flagship. "Here, sir. It's only a few meters wide, but if we can hit it exactly—" "Can you make that shot?" Greg nodded confidently. "Yes, sir. I've been calculating the firing solution for the last hour." The 3 human ships began their final attack. The Frontier and Pioneer moved toward the enemy fleet from the front, their weapons blazing. To the Zephyrians, it looked like a desperate frontal assault. Admiral Veskaren saw the 2 human ships approaching and felt a moment of hope. "Finally," he said, "they're attacking like normal ships. All vessels, concentrate fire on those 2 ships." The remaining Zephyrian ships fired everything they had at the Frontier and Pioneer. Energy beams and plasma missiles filled space between the 2 fleets, but the human ships were not trying to destroy the enemy fleet. They were just trying to get the aliens' attention. Captain Kane and Captain Hayes flew their ships in evasive patterns, dodging most of the enemy fire while returning just enough shots to keep the Zephyrians focused on them, while the enemy was distracted. Captain Morrison took the liberty on a wide circle around the battle. His ship moved through the asteroid debris, using the large rocks for cover. The Zephyrians were so focused on the frontal attack that they did not notice one ship moving around behind them. "We're in position," Jake announced to his crew. "Greg, do you have your shot?" Greg Thompson's hands moved over his targeting controls with careful precision. On his screen, he could see the exact spot on the enemy flagship that he needed to hit. It was a difficult shot, a target only a few meters wide on a ship that was over a kilometer long. "Target acquired," Greg reported. "Firing solution locked." "Take the shot," Jake ordered. The Liberty's main gun fired a single, precise energy beam. The beam crossed space in less than a second and hit the Zephyrian flagship exactly where Greg had aimed it. The shot punched through the thin armor and destroyed the power distributor for the ship's engines. Admiral Vex Karen felt his ship shudder as the engines died. "Engineering report," he shouted. "Main engines are offline, Admiral," came the reply. "Power distributor destroyed. We cannot move." Vex Karen realized what had happened. While his fleet was fighting two human ships, the third had circled around and delivered a killing blow. His flagship was now helpless, drifting in space. Captain Jake Morrison opened a communication channel to the entire Zephyrian fleet. "Attention all Zephyrian vessels. This is Captain Morrison of the human starship Liberty. Your flagship is disabled. Your fleet is scattered and damaged. You have one chance to live." The surviving Zephyrian ships stopped firing. Their crews waited to hear what the human captain would say. "You came here to attack what you thought were helpless merchants," Jake continued. "You learned that there are no helpless humans in space. Every human ship is ready to fight. Every human crew is trained for war." Admiral Vex Karen listened to the human captain's words with growing understanding. These were not merchants. They were warriors disguised as merchants. The entire cargo ship disguise had been a trap. "You will return to your space," Jake said. "You will tell your people what happened here. You will explain that attacking human ships is not hunting. It is suicide." Captain Lisa Kane added her voice to the message. "Any Zephyrian ship that attacks humans in the future will face the same fate. We do not start fights, but we always finish them." Admiral Vex Karen realized he had no choice. His fleet was destroyed. His flagship was helpless. If he surrendered now, some of his people might live. "Human ships," he said over the communication channel. "This is Admiral Vex Karen. We surrender." "Good choice," Jake replied. "Collect your survivors and leave. Do not return to human space." The surviving Zephyrian ships began rescue operations, picking up crew members from the destroyed vessels. It took them 6 hours to collect all the survivors. During that time, the 3 human ships waited patiently, their weapons ready but not firing. When the rescue was complete, the Zephyrian fleet limped away from the battle site. They had entered the asteroid field as hunters, confident in their superiority. They left as broken survivors, carrying news that would change how the galaxy viewed humanity. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair as the enemy ships disappeared into hyperspace. "Well," he said to his crew, "I think that went well." Amy Rodriguez was already plotting a course to their original destination. "Where to now, Captain?" "The Centauri colonies," Jake replied. "We have actual cargo to deliver." Ryan Clark looked up from his weapons station. "Sir, should we change back to looking like cargo ships?" Jake thought about this for a moment. "No," he decided. "I think the word is going to spread pretty quickly about what happened here. Let people see what our ships really look like." The 3 human ships formed up and began their journey to the colonies. Behind them, they left wreckage and debris that would serve as a warning to anyone else who thought humans made easy targets. In Zephyrian space, Admiral Vescarin's report caused panic among the military leadership. A fleet of 30 ships had been destroyed by 3 human vessels. The humans had weapons and tactics that no one had seen before. The Zephyrian High Command issued new orders to all their ships. Avoid human vessels at all costs. Do not attack. Do not threaten. Do not even approach human ships without permission. Other alien species received similar reports from their spies and traders. The humans were not the weak, primitive species that everyone had thought. They were something much more dangerous. In human space, the battle was reported as a minor pirate encounter. 3 cargo ships had successfully defended themselves against raiders. It was the kind of thing that happened every week somewhere in the galaxy, but the humans knew the truth. There were no unarmed human ships. There were no defenseless human crews. Every person who went into space was ready to fight if necessary. The message spread quickly through the galaxy. Humans might look peaceful, but attacking them was the last mistake anyone would ever make. And in the vast darkness of space, human ships continued their journeys, carrying cargo and passengers to distant worlds. They looked like simple merchant vessels. They acted like peaceful traders, but anyone who tried to attack them would learn the same lesson that the Zephyrians had learned. When humans fight, they do not just win. They make sure their enemies never want to fight them again.